Hello, I'm Joshua Jackson, and this is my introduction for educational research. A little bit about me. I was born on a farm, educated and raised in a rural setting in northwest Kansas, graduated from college, Bethany, in Lindsborg, Kansas, and I achieved my master's in music from Kansas State University in Manhattan, Kansas. I have been teaching for 16 years in public schools in Kansas. I got married almost 9 years ago. I now have 5 children, 3 years and under. That's 2 sets of twins. The first set was a pair of girls, and my last set was a boy and a girl, so I have 1 boy and 4 girls. My work, I teach music, preschool through high school. I teach both band and choir. I do not do orchestra. And I have been doing this in a variety of forms in a variety of districts for, like I said, 16 years. So, what is action research? Action research is research that is done in your field and classroom to gain additional information that will help you to better your presentations in classes, thereby helping students to learn more successfully. It is practical, theoretical, concerned with change and improvement. The purpose of action research. First, there are 4 main types. There's technical, mutual collaborative, the enhancement approach, and participatory. The goal, to take teachers from experienced teachers, that's anyone who has more than 7 to 10 years of experience, I believe, to expert, which is someone who really understands their field and how to manage the classrooms and can build relationships with the students and the staff and the parents and the community. The steps of action research are fairly simple. First, you plan, then you put the plan into action, observe the results, analyze the results, and then you have the reflection on the results that you got, or in some cases they call this the conclusion, and then you refine the questions, redo the plan, and repeat the process over and over again, leading to additional knowledge and understanding of your classroom, the students, the subject, and hopefully dealing with whatever issues you are seeing and needing to deal with. Also, giving you more information that you can then give or share with others in your community and profession. The differences between action research and traditional research. Action focuses on the experience and active participation. Traditional focuses on reading and the objective non-participatory study. In other words, there's a wall between the researcher and the participants in the study with traditional. You're looking at it from the outside. You're trying to control different aspects of the environment and so forth. With action research, you are a part of the group, and studying from the inside, also the participants are actively engaged in the research and with you throughout the process. A number of issues come up if your questions aren't precise. The data will be useless. If issues are misidentified, the information will not yield helpful insights. You will get information, but it won't help you solve the problem that you are attempting to solve. If it is not properly planned, it will not be implemented correctly, and again, it will not yield useful results. It all comes down to being very careful with your planning and being very precise with your questions, having an understanding or at least somewhat of an understanding of what the potential issues or causes for certain situations that you are experiencing or things that you are seeing, so that you have a way of creating a more precise question that is measurable as well as accessible. And in my current practice, could I benefit from this? Absolutely. I am seeing a lot of applications where this would definitely help me in my classroom. However, we'll get into my personal shortcomings a little later. Some of the values here, if the students are more managed, for example, my biggest issue has always been classroom management. I have read on it, I have studied it, I have attempted to put a number of ideas that I have heard into practice. Results have varied, meaning that obviously there were improvements. These ideas do help. I didn't understand my student base well enough to be able to apply it to create the kind of result that I was looking for consistently from group to group. If the students are more managed, if your classroom management is better, if the students are more managed, the class will be more productive and enjoyable for everyone, which reduces a lot of stress on the teacher, which again improves the class, because if the teacher is less stressed, then the students are not picking up on that stress. They're seeing more enjoyment, and that carries over, and the class becomes more fun, an experience for everyone. And it just cycles around in a positive way. The improved acquisition of knowledge and uniformity of presentation in music, the more uniform you can get it, the better. The faster the students can pick it up, the further you can take them, and the more challenging music you can start to explore. The more challenging the music, the more enjoyable it is once it is learned. And definitely, it's a lot more fun to present to an audience. Now, my personal thoughts on this. I have some issues with the placement of research in a class that varies so much each period. And I kind of touched on this earlier. Some of the biggest issues that I have run into, I have had a good idea and it worked great with one class, but in music, I hit all classes every day. I have preschoolers, I have high schoolers, I have kindergartners, I have first graders, I have sixth graders, I have everybody. I've got band, I've got choir. And because of that, I'm switching gears for each class, because each class comes in with a different level of ability, a different level of experience that I then have to take to the next level. Also, it's a different group of students. It's a different kind of dynamic. And because of the size of my school and the scheduling and so forth, classes are combined, which means that some issues that don't typically pop up in a regular classroom, which is just third grade, for example, do in music and also in PE, because some third graders react negatively with some of the second graders, and those two classes are combined, which means that I now have to try to manage those student behaviors so that they do not become a disruption to the other students, while also taking them from point A to point B in only 20 to 30 minutes a day. This, of course, leads me to believe that one of my major issues is that I'm not creating the right kind of questions to be able to find the kind of answers that I need for each class. Also, I don't have a deep enough understanding of all the students involved to be able to know, okay, this student will react negatively with this student. Oh, by the way, this week it's changed because they're now best friends and now they react negatively with this group. Furthermore, I have never actually worked in a school that has implemented any form of action research. I have heard some of these concepts of it discussed, especially more recently, but I have never actually been in a district that has actively worked with it. My current school is the closest that I have come so far because it actually has designated time for professional learning communities, and it is actually put together different groups that meet different weeks in these professional learning communities to discuss different issues in the school, which is a good groundwork for this action research. But it's not being implemented at this time. We're still more focused on the traditional research approach, which is proving fairly ineffective, and I think action research would actually really benefit us. Now, how does this apply to the course learning outcomes for this module? Well, it applies directly to the ideas of improvement, the evaluation of pretty much anything within the school, the development of ideas, lessons, plans, goals, a vision, a mission. The implementation of all of that benefits greatly from this, and also a collaboration among all of the stakeholders involved, because information and ideas yield results, and this can only happen through collaboration and active research. Now we're into the correlation. This information is needed to drive continuous improvement in my field and to find additional and new answers to problems that I have been facing. It is very relevant because it gives me information that I hadn't considered up to this point in my career that will be a great advantage to me in the future. I hadn't even heard of action research before this point. Kind of makes me wish I had taken this class earlier in my master's study. I found the idea of expert teacher versus experienced teacher to be very interesting, and I have to agree with it. I feel like I finally am beginning to feel confident in my ability to teach, but this has given me a good idea of where I could possibly go to begin to be able to consider myself an expert and to actually get solutions that will work consistently for these problems that I am consistently having, so that they are no longer holding back my potential and my students' potential in my subject. And, of course, references. Thank you so much for your attention.